Okay, hi guys, so this is the first video of this particular channel. I'm recording this on 1st of January 2021, so Happy New Year if you're watching this around that time, and also I guess Happy New Year if you're watching this any subsequent early January period. Quick intro to the channel. So this channel is mainly for my own documentation of things I learn and applying them to, I guess, in real world situations. So of course the quality of content and quality of the videos will improve over time. So for instance, this first video I'm just going to do in single take, and there's going to be practically no editing on it, to just see how quickly I can get the video uploaded. So I'm trying to use time boxing, which I might create a new a video on. But yeah, so that's basically the goal of the channel. Some videos on analytics and data and engineering or software, and this is going to be open and flexible. So as I said, the main goal of the channel is for documentation of learning. Of course, any subscribers that I get along the way are a very welcome bonus. So having said that, let's begin. So this first video is going to be really short, a few minutes ideally. I've got my clock timer, but what I'm going to talk about is object orientation, which is perhaps one of the most important topics in software design and software system engineering. It's a topic that I've learned recently, and I'm going to just say a few words about some key terminology, some of the benefits, and some of the drawbacks. So let's begin. Now, to change slides, I have to temporarily pause the presentation and then come back to it. Okay, so object orientation, abbreviated in all the slides as OO. Four key terms here: class, object, attribute, method. So what is a class? The way I think about classes is that classes are a blueprint. So they define a template or a structure for how instances of that class, i.e. objects, will be created. And of course, so classes of course are more abstract. They are design constructs, and they are essentially essentially blueprints for creating objects. That kind of leads us onto object. What is an object? An object is an instance of a class. So when think about when you're writing a program, you define a class which encapsulates one of the key structures in the program or the software, and then objects are the actual implementations or instances of the class that get created at runtime. And so you can think about objects as software entities that are created in the image of their classes and essentially make each class come alive. Now, of course, there might be more than one instances of a class. That brings us on to attribute and method. So attribute and method are the two main data members of any object. So attribute is the data value that objects can store. So that's a bit simplistic, but again, this video is not going to go much into depth on any of these things. It's really a high level kind of overview of some of the interesting things. Again, this is video 1, so so cut me some slack in terms of the content. So attributes are variables or fields or data values that an object can that an object stores. So I think of it as things that an object knows, and then a method is what an object can do. So methods can be thought of as functions or actions that the object can take on its attributes. So if we think about an object as a self-contained unit of a bundle of attributes and a bundle of methods that can somehow act on those attributes, then we get to actually the fifth important concept in object orientation, which I forgot to include, which is state. So the state of an object is the values of its attributes at any given point in time. So think about a piece of software that's operational, that's running, and it's got a bunch of methods that operate on attributes to change their values, and you let the program run, and then you stop the clock and look inside the black box of an object, and you discover the values of its attributes at that instant in time. That is its state. So to just recap as a one-sentence summary, a class is a blueprint for an object. An object is an instance of a class. An attribute is things that an object knows. A method is an action that an object can take, or something that it can do using what it knows and other things. And then the state of an object, or the state in object orientation, is the values of its attributes at any given point in time. So that brings us on to the next slide, which is the second of 3 slides that I have prepared for this first video, and already we've gone beyond 7 minutes. So this may not be as short a video as I potentially was expecting, but anyway, I think we are covering content that's important. So the benefits of object-oriented programming is that it makes it easy to read, it makes it easier to understand the code, and of course, ultimately making it easier to maintain pieces of software. Because of course, pieces of software, they could be anything. They could be an application, they could be a desktop application, a web application, or an app for your phone. Once they get written, they need to be maintained, and object orientation makes that process much easier. Second benefit is, of course, if you want to make a change, well-written, well-designed object orientation makes making a change much easier. And finally, object orientation makes it much easier to reuse pieces of functionality or pieces of code in your application software. And we'll cover this, I think, in another video. And the technique in object orientation, well, one of the techniques in object orientation that allows reuse or enables reuse is inheritance, but we'll get to that at some point in the future, I hope. Okay, and then the final slide for this short first video that I had was drawbacks. So there's a lot many great things about object orientation. Are there any bad things? And I think there's mainly just one Obviously, there will be some others that I will add over time, but the one that I can think of right now is the fact that you are changing or mutating the state of an object means that, if you have a large piece of application software that has maybe hundreds of thousands of objects that you have to keep track of in terms of their state, that can become an issue. And so that actually might increase the complexity of that particular application. So that is a potential drawback to object orientation. So now we have reached the 10-minute mark, and I think we are approaching the end of the video. So if we just go back quickly to what we have covered, this channel is a documentation for things learnt or things being learnt, and the videos themselves will improve from feedback and in terms of the content itself. So the videos will be open and flexible. Oops. In terms of object-oriented terminology, we saw five key words. There are of course many more, but the key ones are a class, which is a blueprint; object, which is an instance attribute; which is a data, which is a piece of data; method, which is an action that an object can take; and then the state of an object is the value of its attributes at any given point in time. Object orientation obviously makes it easier to maintain, easy to change, and easy to reuse. And finally, object-oriented drawbacks are that you have to keep track of the states of individual objects, which can be unintentionally changed, because of some design flaw in the program. So that's the end of the video. I'm going to post this as is without any editing, which is probably not the best thing, but as I said, this is the first video of the channel, and the video quality and the way that the content is delivered and captured will hopefully improve over time. So thanks for watching this video, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.